I am currently anointing my hair with coconut oil. Child, I got caught out in a terrible mist slash drizzle. And it fucked up my Bantu knots, child. I had the nicest fucking twist out. It was everything. And it was just I was looking so great. So I'm back to it. You know what I mean? I'm going back to my Bantus. I'm gonna put my Bantus in and I'm gonna give you this motherfucking church. So look, last night I happened to be on Facebook and I was on Facebook late too. And I happened to catch a blog post by one of my like favorite bloggers, and this person, like, I will say that there has been problematic posts that this person has posted that I never called out because it was like, it can be really hard to call certain, like, people out. I think, like, when some people get, like, a big following, myself included, it can be hard to call us out. And I think, like, there have been times for sure in the past where someone was trying to call me out and I was just being, like, I was using silencing tactics and just not really being receptive to the call out. And when I say silencing tactics, I mean being like, good day, like giving them like gifts, you know what I mean, posting like pictures and, just like trying to make them feel like, one, they were like, I was being ableist by being like, you're crazy or, you're nuts. And then I was also just not really being receptive to the fact that like I am not a perfect person and that like I don't know everything. So if somebody's taking the time to call me out, maybe I should fucking listen. You know what I mean? Like that's one of the things that like kind of got through to me. After a while, it definitely wasn't overnight. I definitely wasn't like, you know, accepting of call outs, and that's problematic as fuck, and that's violent as fuck and abusive as fuck to, have following, have people listening to you, and to act like you're above critique or to act like you're above like someone calling you out for problematic behavior. Um, I do not claim to not be problematic in certain ways or to have problematic thoughts or to be uncheckable. I think like it does take it does take a level of accountability with self to kind of make this thing kind of work in terms of like social justice and just being an anti-oppressionist worker. Like I don't want to be oppressing people and I don't want to be upholding oppression and I certainly don't want to be validating or enabling oppression when I can speak, because like not only does my audience kind of like give me a sense of like understanding, like in terms of like being able to have feedback, but it also like gives me like a level of responsibility in terms of like being like upfront and honest when I fucking don't know. And like if I don't fucking know and someone knows and someone calls me out, to not act like, what they're saying is like crazy. Because first, that's ableist, and second, that's just erasing as fuck. And again, it's a silencing tactic. And as I said, this person had, this blogger, Awesomely Lovey, I'm going to say their name because, like, I'm sure, like, some of y'all know who this person is. And, I definitely, I've read some posts from them that, like, definitely made me laugh. I've read some posts from them that made me side-eye. And I don't think that anyone is without, fault in terms of, like, people being, entertainers, critics, whatever. However, when I come out with what I'm gonna say, I just want to be real and say that like, as I said, it's hard to call people out when they have a lot of followers because, sometimes people feel like that following is like some justified like, yes man shit. You know what I mean? Like just because you got a million people behind you don't mean your cause is the fucking the right one or non-problematic in ways. You know what I mean? So I think it's again being mindful of your responsibility to your fans, to your audience. And the audience is largely black, largely people of color. And it just like really struck me as interesting that, this blogger decided to take time and like, put three black men's pictures up. They were mugshots of these three black men who had names that were non-Western. They were quote unquote ghetto names in the sense that they were names. In my opinion, when I saw the names, I'm not gonna post the picture. I'm gonna link you guys to the post in the description bar below so you can kind of catch the tea. But all my comments are gone because homie banned me off the page, and like I wasn't at all like being like wild. Like, and that's the thing that made me the most mad is like I wasn't at all like being rude. I wasn't at all being mean. I was just being like real with them. And I think like sometimes people get upset with you and they get mad at you for like educating yourself on like what the fuck oppression is and how it manifests. And it bothers me because like calling out oppression is mad fucking hard. And then calling out oppression and having somebody fucking come at you like you're crazy, like you're fucking like trying to like be like coming for them like on some fucking evil shit. It's like you getting called out not because you're a bad person. You're getting called out because you did something fucked up. Like, accept that shit. Accept that what you did was fucked up. Like, first of all, you're a black woman. You with a non-Western name your fucking self. And that's what kills me. A lot of the people on the fucking thread have very interesting, unique fucking names. And they all wanted to come for these three men who had names that they had never heard before. And a lot of the men's names, I could tell from being in the South, because I, like, in the South, I've really learned that a lot of people, their parents just splice their names together and give that to their children. And that is the name of them. So you'll meet like Latravia, or you'll meet like I have a friend named Jaleesa. Their mother's name is their mother's name is Lisa. Their father's name is Joe. Jaleesa. Okay. There's a lot of people in communities in the South, and this story, or rather these three men who committed murder were from the South. So like it was just like it didn't make sense to me like why you would like lambast these men for names that were non-Western when you don't have a non-Western name yourself. And then a lot of people were like using respectability politics to shame other people and be like, this is not exclusive of black culture and da-da-da-da. But it's like, it is though. And the thing is, we use blackness as this overarching fucking thing when in reality there are different types of cultures within blackness. Like there's different like cultural, there are things that are there are things that are culturally significant to certain parts of the world to black people that are not significant in other places. All right? I'm not going to say it's not super common that like black people splice their names in the East Coast, but I didn't really hear about that shit until I came to the South and I met people whose names were splices of their parents and they told me that shit. They would say that they have a ghetto name. And the thing that sucks is like you don't have a ghetto name. You don't have a ghetto fucking name. There's no such thing as a fucking ghetto name. And the thing that bothered me is like Lovey tried to fucking justify like coming for these dudes by citing another person's name and calling it ghetto, and then trying to like again use respectability politics talking about that's not part of black culture. And it's like, hold on, you're a non-African American, like you're an African American in terms of coming from Africa. Like, I'm sure. Actually, I'm honestly not even sure about that, to be honest. Like, I know that you have a Nigerian name. I'm not sure if you're from, Nigeria, like, and then you came to America. So maybe, like, the politics are different in terms of that. But, like, it's not, though. It's, like, in terms of, like, you being an African person and, what I was trying to say was there were people who have African names who were getting upset saying that that's not part of African American culture when that's a completely separate fucking culture from African, like from like people who are from Africa coming to America versus people who are black from America who are black Americans. If that makes any sense. Basically what I'm trying to say is culturally speaking, you cannot sit here and be a black person immigrating from another country and coming to America and trying to talk about what is not culturally fucking specific or significant to a certain group of black people in any given fucking space. And not only that though, the idea that those names were ghetto, it makes you think. When you like put value systems on names like that, when you say someone's name is ghetto, that means that there has to be an example of names that are non-ghetto. And whatever the fuck a non-ghetto name is probably a name rooted in colonization, aka a white ass, Eurocentric ass fucking name. So it's just like, it was just so much shit going on that fucking page. It was just bugging me. And people were like, I understand where Trent is coming from, but like, you're not a PC person. It's like, it's not about being fucking PC. It's about being a black person and having some fucking sense, not to fucking like spout anti-blackness. It's like, I'm so sick of people like saying one thing and doing another. You came for people in the name of Kwavanzane. You came for people. You came. But yet, when these three men, and yeah, they're murderers. These three men are murderers. Okay, but to say that because of their ghetto names, they were set up for failure, that they're intrinsically linked to criminality because of their names, that because of because of their names, we know about their upbringing, we know about the classism in their family, like all these things linked to these men's names. And it's like, whoa, it's like these three men could be like college, these three men could be in college, could have killed somebody on some other shit. It's like nobody investigated the story. They looked at the names and they came up with all these fucking racist ass, anti-black ass fucking notions about what these people were going through. And it's like, hold the fucking phone. Is this not a black woman's platform? Like, what the fuck? Oh my God. And then to refer to me to like not only fucking like disregard me in that post where I was bringing up fucking actual fucking valid points, to make a fucking status about how shit escalated. What did you fucking think? Let's come on. Like how are you gonna sit there and talk about the whiteness of the Grammys and then try and come for me for calling you out on anti-blackness? Child, you got to pick one. You got to pick one. You cannot be half-assing and talking about the whiteness at the Grammys and giving a tip and a pop of your fucking cap to fucking white supremacy and trying to lift back the curtain and then gonna tell us that Oz don't exist. Stop. It was three black men. Three black men with non-colonial, Eurocentric names. Why the fuck are we taking time out of our fucking life to fucking shit on these men who are already going into a fucking bloated ass fucking legal system that is teeming with black men with all types of motherfucking names? We could be using our fucking platforms for real shit, and it sucks because it's like, you know, you're funny and you're great and you're wonderful, and that's why I fucking followed you. I think you're wonderful, but I think it sucks that like when I fucking said some real shit to you, you came at me with some fucking bullshit. It's like, really? It's like, is this real? It's like, why is there no safer space? Why is it that like I can't fucking enjoy any fucking mainstream black comedy without feeling like I should fucking, you know, like compromise my politics? There's no such thing as a ghetto name. Can we stop this shit? There's no such thing as a ghetto name. Stop it. Most names, most black names have fucking significance to the people who have named their children those fucking names. It's not up for white people to fucking validate the fucking relevance, significance, validity, legitimacy of anybody's fucking name, let alone someone who's a person of color. And you should fucking know that, because ain't nobody white had a hand in your motherfucking name. And if somebody white has something to say about your name, I'm sure you have something to fucking say. So the fact that these three men, yes, they're fucking murderers. They're three black men going into the system with fucked up fucking, shit against them already. And we're going to talk about how their names in the system where we can like trace back why the fuck black names are fucking treated with such disregard. We can trace that shit back. And for you to have like all of this education, to have all of this knowledge because you ain't fucking dumb. Like, I'm reading your shit. You're not stupid. But for you to fucking know, for you to like get to this part of the tree without getting to this part of the tree and trying to say that this part of the tree don't exist, it's just like too many mental gymnastics for me. And it sucks that like I couldn't fucking just like come at you and it be just like, you know, like you actually listening to me, and like it just annoys me. And then I got into another argument with another fucking blogger, and it sucks because like again, this is another black woman's blog who like I like their blog, I like their personality, I thought they were really interesting, and yes, they had said and done problematic shit before, but when I chose to fucking check them, I came at them hella fucking coup de la. Like that's what sucks. Like this blogger, Miss Gia, she fucking posted a picture of like Perez Hilton, fucking who had lost weight. She posted a before and after picture of Perez Hilton being like, it's a shame that people like hate on Perez because he's lost so much weight. He like, wow, like how can anybody hate? Like you're a hater. Like if you can't like congratulate someone for losing this much weight and da da da. And it's like, whoa. It's like, you know what? It's like, as a fat woman of color, or rather a fat assumed woman of color, even that shit, even saying that is like political as fuck, because it's like there are times where like these issues like anti-womanism, like all this shit. Like there are times where like I feel like a black woman because I feel like so hardly the oppression against my body, and it's like that also like conflicts with my gender politics. But like right now, like when I go to a space where I see black women, I want that to be a safe space. And when I go to a space like, you know, when I was in Miss Gia's like Facebook space and I saw the post, I was like, well, let's talk about it, you know? Perez Hilton is a white passing person, you know, like I realized that someone told me that his mother is a Latinx person, so I definitely don't want to label him as a non-POC, but he is a white passing person, and he is a man, you know what I mean? He's a cis man, and you know he's rich, you know what I mean? It's like if you're rich, if you're a rich white dude, why the fuck would anyone give a shit about you being able to lose a bunch of weight? What the fuck is going on in your life that's prohibiting you from losing weight? Losing weight is not just about calories in, calories out. It's deeper than that. It's socioeconomic fucking shit going on. If you're in a place like right now in New Orleans, I'm in a place where there's barely any like fresh food. But the places that do have fresh food are very fucking expensive. So if I want to eat fresh food, I either have to dumpster fresh food, which is usually on the end of its shelf life, or steal fresh food, which obviously is bad because I'm a person of color, and that means that I could go to jail for that shit. And third, you know, if I do decide to splurge and buy fucking fresh food, I am not able to buy enough to fucking make an entire meal that's gonna satisfy me and provide me with enough calories to fucking live my fucking day. Therefore, when I live in New Orleans, I am primarily eating fast food or eating like, you know, bar food or eating things that like are quick, full of calories, and very, very fucking cheap, which means I'm alive, but it also means that when I go out into the world and I do anything, I'm losing weight at such a fucking rapid pace that it's like I'm so hungry, I'm like on the verge of starvation. So when we're talking about weight loss, we're not just talking about, you know, not like eating a lot of food. We're also talking about people who fucking can't afford to eat, but when you do see them eating, are not eating things that you would categorize as healthy. They're eating things that you would categorize as unhealthy junk food, why they are fat. You feel me? When in reality, I've lost more weight in New Orleans eating garbage food than I ever did in the East Coast eating fucking healthy food from a fucking Whole Foods. True fucking story, let me tell you. It's a completely different space. In this space, it's more like, it's more foot traffic, it's more exercise overall because it's like a wide space. Not to mention it's hot as fuck, so you're sweating. The climate definitely changes your body chemistry. So like we're talking about a lot of different things here. And we're also talking about privilege. The privilege to be able to lose weight. I physically cannot afford to lose weight. I can't afford it. I cannot afford to keep on weight also. So it's definitely not just about me wanting to eat. It's about, can I eat? Can I afford to eat? Where can I eat? Is there food available? Is there fresh food available? Is this food going to make me sick? Are there maggots on this food? It's like there's a lot of questions that go into just eating as myself. So when people fucking, you know, show me before and afters of like cis white dudes fucking losing weight and we're supposed to give a fuck, no. Why the fuck would I give a shit about Perez Hilton losing weight? You feel me? And the thing is, Gia recently lost a bunch of weight, and like following them on their journey was hard. I'm not gonna lie. As a fat person of color, it was mad hard because again, fat phobia dictates that before and afters are worth something. Before and afters are worth something in our society. They mean like something to most people in terms of like you having the ability to fucking lose weight, you having the endurance to lose weight, you having the fucking ability to fucking actually take time out of your life to exercise. A lot of people cannot take out that time to exercise in terms of like, I'm going to do some yoga. It really more looks like I'm going to walk 2 miles because I can't afford the fucking bus. That's most people's exercise, is like actually like living their fucking life. And then when they can't afford to like eat like good ass food or food with lots of calories, they fucking don't. They still buy the garbage, a little bit of food, and use the rest for whatever little fucking shit that they couldn't afford when they had no fucking money and were stealing food. It's like, you know, we're not taking into account, you know, how classism, you know, helps us like lose weight in terms of like having the amount of money to like actually set aside for like, you know, the things required to lose weight in the modern fucking world, you know what I mean? Because like, you know, Gia wasn't losing weight in terms of like eating less. They were like making shakes and like, doing all these things that you need money to do to lose weight. And again, I'm not shaming anyone for losing weight. I'm just saying, how are you gonna fucking use your space as a black woman to talk about a white dude losing weight when he's rich as fuck? And what hardships is he overcoming? You know what I mean? He had money and he's always had fame, despite him being fat or not. You know what I mean? It's like, who gives a fuck? And I was just like annoyed about that. But it's like, when I said what I said to them, it wasn't a call out. It was just me being like, this is why nobody gives a fuck. This is why, like, people already don't like Perez Hilton, but also people don't like a bully who's fucking like he's a bully, but he's also like not like he's not like no shade. And this is like lookism too. If you're like a fat person and you lose weight and like if you're like a fat person with like a mids-ass fucking face, no shade, no one's gonna give a fuck that you have a six-pack now, bitch. Like, maybe a little bit, maybe, like, for, like, physical reasons. And, again, that's ableist as fuck, but it's true. It's, like, in our society, like, unless, like, you have an attractive face or a relatively attractive face, you losing weight doesn't really fucking matter. It truly doesn't fucking matter. Granted, you still have, like, thin privilege or, you know, the privilege to be a smaller fat person. But, like, even with that, that does not necessarily mean that in our look of society that means anything. And I feel like that's at play with Perez Hilton as well. Perez Hilton is still a busted-ass duck. So no one gives a fucking frankenfuck. Like, that's really what it is. So, again, I think, you know, the space obviously changed because, like, when Gia lost weight, it wasn't like, I think, like, she was never, like, overweight, but she was always, like, a thicker person or, like, more voluptuous, like, but I feel like when they lost weight, they became, like, thin, and that's when, like, the thin privilege kind of kicked in terms of, like, them, like, being very, like, judgmental of other people's bodies, being very, like, oh, look at this person, you know what I mean, and just being, like, more, like, hyper aware of, like, bodies, and I feel like that kind of bothered me because, again, in my body, I'm constantly trying to, like, work on, like, you know, what is feminine, what is not, what is like finding worth in myself and shit like that. And it's hard when like I'm seeing a black woman like posting pictures of this like basic ass white dude who lost some fucking weight. Like, we should give a shit. We shouldn't give a fuck. We shouldn't give a fuck. Especially when he has the fucking ability, the class privilege, and the power to fucking do so. You know, most people who are fat, no shade, they're fighting a fucking real fight against them, and like a lot of us are not like in a place where we're like comfortable to be fat, comfortable with taking up space and shit of that nature. So it's like to have a space where, you know, you've lost weight and now you're like championing white like thin bodies of dudes. It's like basic dudes too. I don't know. It was just like, what the fuck? And then, like, it was funny to me because, like, the only reason why I bring this up is because, like, that was brought up in, like, the thing with, like, Lovey. And it was like, what the fuck? It's like, really? Like, my whole, like, I'm not a social justice fucking warrior. I'm a black person. I'm a black queer trans person. I fucking live my life every day in this body that is very political, and like shit happens to me and I talk about it. And when I see people like saying things that are like rooted in oppression, I'm gonna call it out because I've been silent for a long time. And I don't want to like be fighting with people. That's definitely like not what I want. Like I don't like fighting with people. I don't like having like mad beef with people. It's just like it doesn't serve me. But the thing is, if I come at you and, like, I'm typing to you, I'm not, like, yelling at you, and, like, I'm yelling in this video, I realize, but it's, like, you know, we're not having a face-to-face conversation. I'm just trying to get my point out, and I'm very animated, so excuse me if, like, you took it as me, like, being, like, super angry. It's just, like, I'm just, like, super, like, annoyed / disturbed / frustrated. Because I really didn't think it was going to go all the way fucking left, and I really didn't think people were going to try to call me crazy because I called out some, like, actual shit that was, like, happening. It just, like, was really, like, disempowering for me, and it, like, really, like, hurt my feelings because, again, this is someone that I liked. And I think that, like, when you like someone and you call them out, you truly don't want to, like, have beef with them. And I was trying to choose my words carefully and, like, not come at them fucked up. But it was, like, there was just so much, like, vitriol and so much cruelty on that page that when I came into it, people were already ready to fucking, like, be mean to me and be shady to me. And then somebody tried to make fun of my name. And I was like, wow, like someone tried to make fun of my chosen name. Like, my name on Facebook is Trent. We had a baby. It's a boy. And, like, the last name is from, like, this 90s commercial where, like, this, like, white couple didn't want to pay for fucking collect calls. So they were like, first name John, and then the dad was like, oh, it's John, and then it was like last name, we had a baby, it's a boy, and then he was like, oh, it's John, they had a baby, it's a boy, and I thought it was funny, and also a tongue in cheek like kind of like a tongue in cheek mention of like my bigenderness, I suppose, because I just think it's funny that like, you know, that like I could like just change my aesthetic and like somehow I'm a different person to people. I'm an alien. Like it's just like so weird. It's like being a trans person, or rather finally identifying as trans, and like just like finally like living my life and dressing the way I want to and presenting the way I want to. It's so political, and I just didn't realize like my cis privilege until I started like identifying as trans, and I started like appearing as more genderqueer or more gender variant. And with that like shittiness and with that pain, I'm gonna be more on edge when it comes to like people disrespecting me. So like in that space, like people were trying to make fun of me for my name, for me being like, stop making fun of these black men's names. Fuck. That's what I wanted to say. Like fuck, you know what I mean? Like I wanna stand in solidarity with like black people as a whole, but I realize black people are not a monolith. Like there's different things going on with different parts. There are different things going on in different communities because blackness is not a monolithic. It's not monolithic. You know, that's why like in some parts of the South there are people with spliced names, because that shit does not happen everywhere. Shit happens in different places. There are different in the black community, there are so many communities within. So it's like to be shitting on black people who are fucking already in a bad situation, and to be saying that like because of their name they're automatically criminals, they automatically are suspect of criminality. It was like, what the fuck? It's like my name is Tatiana, like my name like given to me at birth was Tatiana, and my mom spelled it T-A-T-I with a hyphen, capital A-N-A, and like that was always seen as a ghetto name, despite the fact that my name is Russian. It's a Russian name. It's a name that like, it's a name that has European ties in terms of, you know, hearing it and in terms of like the traditional spelling. But when people would see my name spelled, there would be a lot of like shade, and there would be a lot of like things where like people would try to give me nicknames and shit like that, and I didn't like that shit. And I have a hard time with, you know, people shitting on black people especially for their names, because it's like, fuck you, dude. All these fucking Bens and fucking Jakes, Henrys and shit out here. Who cares? Who cares? Like, because it goes beyond you just shitting on that person's name. People were shitting on, like, that person's lineage. They're shitting on that person's whole family line. Shitting on, like, their whole fucking, like, and a lot of these names that were given are colonized-ass names. Like, you know, a lot of the last names of these men were getting shit on, too. And it's like, these last names were, like, slave names. You feel me? It's like, the fact that, like, black people have the ability to name their children, that's revolutionary as fuck. Black people weren't always allowed to name their fucking children. Slaves were given motherfucking names. So fuck that shit. Like, fuck. I don't know. It's like, if we can't see revolution, you know, if we can't see revolution in the littlest things, and like black people being able to say, you know what, this is my fucking child's name, then like what the fuck are we doing? You know what I mean? See revolution in the spaces that it is. You know what I mean? Revolution isn't just you critiquing whiteness at the fucking Grammys. It's somebody black naming their kid whatever the fuck they want and not worrying about what the fuck a blogger has to say or several hundred people have to say about the state of their fucking life, their fucking finances, their fucking home situation, etc. That's basically what I wanted to say. That's it. I'm gonna finish my Bantu now, so I'm gonna go. But thank you guys for listening.